What's up? My name is Hansa. I go by Hansa Golfs on Instagram and YouTube, and I'm chasing 135 mile an hour club head speed. In the last video, we went to the TrackMan studio and got some baseline readings for where my club head speed is at currently. You can see the video right here. In this video, I'd like to break down some of the footage that we took from that session and analyze it against the longest hitters in the game and see where we can make some improvements. Okay, so here we have myself, and on the right we have Jamie Sadlowski. He's a multiple world long drive champion, and the reason that I picked him and not somebody else is that he's 5'11". So he was able to not only compete against the best in the world, but also win more than once, being pretty average height. A lot of these guys that compete in these long drive competitions are 6'6", 6'5". They're huge. So the reason he's a good swing model is because he doesn't really have room for inefficiencies in his motion, especially to compete at that high of a level. By the way, he's made cuts on what's now the Corn Ferry Tour, so this guy can flat out play. So I know that these angles aren't perfect, but I think there's some things that stand out regardless. So if we take a look at his grip, he has a very strong grip. You can kind of see the extension in his left hand, that sort of cupping, whereas I have a very weak left-handed grip. My right hand is pretty neutral. You can see this sort of V pointing up towards my right shoulder, maybe a little bit inside of it. But left hand is very weak, meaning that the back of my hand here is very flat, whereas you can see his is kind of this sort of shape. So that stands out. Another thing that stands out is the amount of shoulder tilt he has at address. He has much more than I do. And he almost looks just ready to move off of the ball and get a bunch of pressure into that trail side. So I drew these lines on the outside of the legs to kind of see how the pelvis is working. So with myself on the way back, I more or less stay on this line that's on my right leg. I maybe break through it slightly, maybe like a quarter inch, half inch, but I'm more or less just staying on it. And then I never really move off of it going into the backswing. I'm pretty much maybe a tiny little bit of space there in transition, but in the backswing, I more or less stay on that line. So if we look at Jamie, he, like a lot of long drivers do, he's moving off of the ball, and then he starts to create a bunch of space off of that line in his backswing. So before his downswing has even started, he's created a bunch of space, and here's what the effect of that is. If you look at what his foot is doing, pay attention to this foot. So if you look at what his foot is doing, on the way back, he lifts his heel, and then it replants actually closer to the target, allowing him to just push immediately. Whereas myself, if we look at my foot, I stay over on this right side for very long. So if you look at my heel, it also lifts, but I'm actually planting closer to my back foot, further away from the target by the time I get my pressure over there. So what Jamie does really well is he gets into a position here in his backswing where he's already far enough left that he can just sort of grab the ground over here and just start using the ground and getting force off of it. Whereas myself, I am getting there later. So I make my backswing, and I'm not really pushing off of the ground until about this point here. This is where I start to extend, which is not ideal for speed. With Jamie here, you could already see at the start of his downswing, he's already in the ground and pushing off like that. So he's able to get so much more speed out of the ground. All right, so what does that look like? At setup, I'm gonna have a little bit stronger grip, especially in my left hand. I'm gonna set up with a little bit more shoulder tilt. And then coming off of the ball, I'm gonna feel like I'm spiking pressure on my right foot a little bit more, especially just like in the initial phase of the backswing. And then moving, staying nice and wide, making a big turn. I want to feel like at this point, maybe, I'm going to start really recentering these hips, creating this space here. So then when I get to the top and I'm going to make a big turn, I'll be able to just grab this ground with my left foot. So I almost want to feel like my foot has planted before my downswing has started. So it's gonna, in pieces, it's gonna look a little bit like this. Boom, spike, turn, wide, recenter, grab the ground, and then go. So what's interesting is like, I'm trying to turn but also stay wide, and those feel to me like almost like conflicting forces, just feel-wise. It's like this makes me feel like I'm not turning much. Whereas like if I was narrow, I feel like I could just turn a bunch. So it's kind of, in my brain, it's just very conflicting. It's like a bigger, slower turn almost is what it feels like. And just trying to get that left heel to plant a little bit more towards the target. So I just looked on camera at some of those swings that I just made, and it looks better to me. It looks better already, but I still feel like this needs to extend sooner. I feel like I'm staying, this left knee is kind of going around. I'm sort of staying in this like external rotation for quite a long time as far as speed goes. So I want to be feeling like in that Sadlowski video or like some of these other long drive guys, I want to feel like this is like firing way sooner. So I'm just going to do a few slow rehearsals with that intention. That just feels like I'm just like the handle is pulling up, the club is releasing through. Feels very foreign, feels very different. That's why I want to do it without a ball and just kind of get these reps in to get the feeling, and then potentially some slow reps with the ball and sort of build on that. Now I just got to put 1,000 reps in until it's kind of subconscious, and then we can take it to the TrackMan studio and see what we can do. Thanks for following along. I really hope to get to this 135 clubhead speed. I think that'd be pretty cool. And then I hope to sort of share this journey with you guys and show you what kind of tips and tricks I learned along the way. So if you like this video, subscribe. If you didn't like it, I'm sorry. See you next time.